Hey YouTube, it's Matt with Olympus Reptiles. And really quick, before we start the video in the month of October and November, I want to take 1 second to ask you a favor if you have the time. We're going to put a link in the description of our videos that goes to our PayPal. And you're going to see me growing a beard for about the next month till the end of November. What that beard represents is we're working to raise money to give kids a Christmas, otherwise wouldn't have one here in our community. So anything you send us to PayPal in that month, just mark it Hair for the Holidays, click the link, whether it's $1 or $100, even a penny helps. If you mark Hair for the Holidays, we'll give everything that we get from you directly to those children. Through that last year, we personally were able to raise enough money to give 9 families a Christmas that wouldn't have had one, and the charity itself here in our community helped over 70 families. So if you have the chance, we would love your donation. We'd really appreciate it because we love getting to help people in our local community. Thank you. And watch this rockin' beard come in because I'm really bad at growing it, but we're going to give it our best shot. Thanks for watching, guys, and we appreciate your help. On to the video. Hey YouTube, it's Matt with Olympus Reptiles, and we're still here in Kansas City getting a lot of footage done. But, of course, I'm here with Reid from TallGrass Reptiles.
How's it going?
And there's a gene I talked about in one of our earlier episodes that you're really well known for. And there's a couple of them. Obviously, Blitz. The original Blitz that we got came from you guys. And
yeah.
A lot of people love Blitz. But I've done enough stuff on Blitz. I think I can handle that. Okay. But this is one that I only have one snake that's got this gene, and I know you have a lot. And it's something we got into after seeing what you and Eric have done with it. Sure. And that is Blackhead. Yeah. So I wanted to do a video really highlighting the Blackhead gene and then showing what it can do in combos and what it looks like and what you look for and how pretty it is and where you think it can go. But do me one favor. You got to keep your favorite Blackhead back.
Okay. We're
not going to show the favorite Blackhead here. We're going to show that on Patreon, but we're going to show everything else right here on YouTube.
Sounds good.
So I'm just going to get out of the way and turn over to you and let you talk about Blackhead.
Sure. No, well, I guess probably where we want to start is what does the base gene look like, right?
Absolutely.
So I've got a really nice example female adult proven breeder.
Oh, she's a big girl.
She is, and she's a very good example of a Blackhead female. Just that widened black back, and then you have some of the striping in the middle of it. So just really nice example.
It seems to have a lot of keyholing too, almost like the Mojaves do.
Yeah, and then they always have some pretty neat bellies, you know, where that patterning's coming up the side of the animal a little bit more. Mm-hmm. And so that's one of the nicest Blackhead females just on its own.
And they appear to me to be overall just darker.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. That's definitely it's definitely a darkening gene. What I do like about it is the super still has some pattern to it, so it's not just a straight, you know, like the cinnamon or black pastel, right, where it's, you know, patternless animal. This thing, jet black, but still has some pattern mixed in there as well.
And stable, correct? What's that? So when you go to the super, if you have a super cinnamon or a super black pastel, kinking is always an issue. Yeah, so we're trying to correct that, but this is stable. You don't have to worry about that.
Right, correct. Yep. So I've hatched some supers. They're pretty awesome on their own as well.
Well, really cool.
So that's that girl.
You mentioned the supers. Maybe we should go to a super next. I think there's one hiding in here, isn't there?
Yeah, let me find it. So this is a super Blackhead pastel female that I held back a few years ago. Oh. So that pastel brings a little bit more of the pattern back into the animal, but you can see just how much more, set that little guy over there for a minute. Just how much more dark this animal is and how much more pattern reduced it is. You got your little islands in here.
And the pattern reduction is really, really cool on that animal too.
And then typically the eye stripe is almost eliminated on a super Blackhead.
That is crazy.
So instead of the eye stripe coming all the way through the eye, it's either just barely on one side, or the pastel is actually bringing some of that eye stripe back in.
Yeah, this is kind of just behind the eye, but
right,
it doesn't go through it and come up to the nose at all.
Exactly. So pretty neat belly pattern.
And it appears you get some pattern linking in the front too.
Yeah, that's pretty common there as well. So that's a super Blackhead pastel female.
Really neat.
Pretty neat animal. Just probably don't want to leave that little guy in there. Might get crushed.
Well, speaking of little guys, since you got him in your hand, you want to do him next?
Yeah, sure. So this first year I've hatched a Blackhead leopard, which, you know, leopard's a dark gene as well. So you've got the Blackhead interacting with that leopard. Just makes for a really nice pattern reduced dark animal.
And then too with that leopard, it's making those lines so very, very clear and crisp. Everything just seems clean.
Oh, absolutely. Yep, you're absolutely right. So you got a little bit of shed on there, but
yeah, happens all the time.
Pretty neat animal.
Really gorgeous. Really gorgeous.
So there's that guy.
So
I'll
how
stick
long
him
have you
back
been
in real
working
quick.
with Blackhead when you were putting that one up?
So I started off with a breeder Blackhead male and just really wasn't sure where to go with the project. But I've been producing Blackheads for 5-6 years, something like that. Yeah.
So I bet if you think, guys, that's as long as you've heard of Blackhead. So since you first started hearing of Blackhead, you guys were producing them.
Yeah. So the original male came in directly from Ralph Davis, who originated the gene, and then I started breeding it into some. I actually selected bumblebee and spider combinations to start with, and so that was very, very complex to figure out exactly what that combination did. So.
Since you mentioned that, why don't you show why it was
Sure.
complex? Because there's kind of a story there. And
Yeah, so it took me a lot of time to figure out just what Blackhead spider looked like, or I almost hatched animals where they look almost normal. I mean, I look at this animal and I say, okay, that doesn't look like a Blackhead.
No.
Definitely doesn't look like a spider either.
Not the
But
only
if-
indication I see is a little bit of flex coming up,
Right.
a little bit of yellow and white,
Right, and
which
that's-
is common
that's-
with spider.
Yep, and that's one of the things that finally, the light bulb went off that, okay, if you imagine a spider, but all of its spider pattern widened out by that Blackhead gene, then it starts to make sense, right?
Right.
And then the other thing we noticed is that there's a dot on the head, which is typical of Blackhead spiders.
Oh, the
That's
top little head stamp?
Right on the top of the head, there's a dot, and that's more pronounced as a baby. This is a proven breeder female. But the other unique thing about Blackhead and spider is it's an allelic gene, so this animal will only throw blackheads or spiders.
And the strange thing about that is it's pretty widely accepted in the ball python community, by I'd say 95% of it, that super spiders are death sentence.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so to find a gene that's allelic with it and not being a death sentence had to be a surprise.
Yeah, and you notice no head wobble either, so.
It's almost completing something in there that needed
Right.
taken care of.
Exactly.
But with
This
that,
robot.
just to be clear, so if we breed Blackhead and spider, and we make a Blackhead spider, it's allelic, so it's never going to make a normal, and we're going to get rid of the head wobble in that animal. But what happens to the offspring?
So spiders are still typical spiders, and blackheads don't have any issues.
So it's not a cure for the wobble. If you're worried about the wobble, which you guys know my friends on wobble, it's not that big of a deal if you know what you're dealing with. But for those of you that are concerned about it, I understand, and you got a right to be, understand it's not a cure, but those two together, it takes it out.
Right.
But it's such a
But
weird...
also those two together almost look like a normal, so it's not too extravagant on its own, but it is nice when you're making combinations and you know that anything that's not spider is blackhead. So if something you haven't made before,
You can guarantee it.
you guarantee, okay, that's definitely blackhead. I maybe wouldn't have seen that
Right.
if I didn't know that fact.
Because
so.
sometimes, like Blackhead, can be a pretty subtle change,
Right.
especially early on. Now,
Yep.
as it ages, you're going to see it more and more, I would imagine. But
Yeah.
that baby can sometimes be a little confusing if you
Yeah.
haven't seen the combo before.
And on its own, especially when you're first hatching it, it's somewhat subtle,
Right.
a little bit. Now it's night and day for me, but I think back to when I first started
Right.
hatching them, and it was a little bit difficult to identify at first.
Yeah, you've been working for 5 years.
Right.
And
Right.
so to get those on the scene, I mean, when you see them every day, I would imagine it gets much easier.
Exactly.
So
I
what
can
are
show
some
you
other combos? Yeah, keep going. We'll just let you go as
so-
long as you want on this. This
well,
is
we have-
fascinating.
We have that female that just laid all those eggs, right? So that's a Blackhead pastel Mojave.
And when he says just laid, we literally just filmed where we took her off the eggs.
Right.
What blows my mind is a lot of times when I take, and she had 14 eggs, guys, 14, and she looks like she's ready to breed right now.
Right. Right.
Usually when a snake has a big clutch of eggs, they look hollowed out, caved in. They look like you've been starving them almost for a
Right.
little while. And she doesn't look like she's missed a meal.
No, I mean, and if you combine her clutch weight with her, weight afterwards, she's more like a 4,500 gram animal. So
Crazy. That's a crazy animal.
So there's that girl. The first combination that made the Blackhead so popular was the Blackhead Mojave. So you see how it patterns out. It creates those striping and reduces the pattern pretty good. So
Really
another
cool
one.
animals.
Another one that I like a lot is the Blackhead Yellow Belly combination because, it makes it even darker than the regular Blackhead.
Whew.
This is a really neat combination as well. So reduces the pattern a bit, and then just look how dark that animal
You
is.
said this is Blackhead Yellow Belly?
This is a Blackhead Yellow Belly. Yep,
Nothing else in there.
that's it. Well,
Nothing we know of.
yeah, nothing I know of.
Because, you know, yellow belly, you almost think of kind of being an enhancer gene, cleaning some things up. You know, you can see it in using the belly pattern.
Right.
But this has gone, the way it enhances it, took it darker.
Yeah.
You can definitely see the yellow belly coming through there.
Right.
She's going to do that roll on.
Yeah, so she may be gravid. I don't know for sure, but I think she's got some follicle development, so she's looking really nice right now.
Just amazing. And I love the dark stuff. You know, and I think dark stuff right now in the hobby is a big, big deal.
Oh yeah.
So, beautiful animal.
So let her crawl back in there. So I did breed the blackhead to, or I got banana in the blackhead as well, so I'll show you one of those combinations once I get her crawled back in there.
Now, my hope, and I haven't got to see this yet, so you guys are seeing it with me, is it brings out a lot of purples, my hope.
Yeah, so this is an adult, so you're gonna...
It's going to be muted
Sorry.
as an adult for sure.
Yeah. But when these things first hatch out, all this dark patterning is actually white.
Really?
It's just, yeah, they're pretty insane when they first hatch out, and you know, they develop over time. But you can see this one has yellow belly, inchy, and banana in it. So that widened black back, and then just, you know, super bright, especially as babies.
So yellow belly, inchy, banana, blackhead.
Yeah, correct.
Really cool.
So I'm trying to get some freeway stuff going with this as well.
This seems
Crossing the
also
asphalt in there.
have very few spots. So what gene in there do you think is reducing some of that?
I think yellow belly does a little bit, but anytime you get there's no bell complex in here, but any bell complex removes the stripes.
Right.
I
I
think
knew like Western things would do
right.
that. But
I
it
think
just
as you add more and more genes, I think it tends to
clean up.
I guess depending on the gene, but
Well, yeah, because I like black pastel. It makes it look like you dumped a bunch of chocolate chips in there.
right, exactly. So there's that one. Let's see what else. Trying to remember. I did cross into asphalt also, so I do have. It's going to look very similar to that blackhead yellow belly combination. But
Which
I do
would be
have,
expected because the asphalt and the yellow belly being allele,
right.
correct?
So I did cross the asphalt gene into the blackhead as well.
That thing's amazing. It almost seems like this may have more pattern than the other one did.
A little bit,
And I'm
yeah.
seeing some of the highlighting around the pattern. So you almost have like a AC/DC and black on black going on here where it's dark, but then right around the pattern it's a highlighted black.
Yeah, yeah.
Really kind of a really cool look, and that follows all the way down the belly.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
it's a cool animal. So hopefully I'm going for the blackhead super asphalt, so hopefully I'll hatch something in that realm to see what those darks can do in there with the super asphalt.
You know, all those things get named after different types of road, whether it's freeway, highway,
Right.
or are you going to call that blacktop, or
Yeah, I haven't thought about the name yet, so.
you got to be some kind of road.
Right.
Some kind of road.
Well, I guess it makes sense. I did hatch a baby version of that, so you can see. You know, I don't know if this will help her.
Give it a shot.
Yeah. Hold on.
Oh, it didn't help much because,
It didn't come on.
yeah.
Go ahead.
There it is.
There
More
we go.
light's always a good thing usually.
Right. So this is a blackhead asphalt.
So the difference in that and the adult versions is stunning.
Yeah, so there's definitely some red gene involved in this one. So when my original male had had all the extra genes that, you know, Ralph Davis originally crossed the blackhead into a few wild-caught animals. So the red gene was one that was identified out of some of his original pairings, and my male just happened to have that as well as the ringer gene. So
Is this what's bringing this color in? Where I
Yeah,
mean, it
you
almost
see-
has this like,
see those
Burnt
flames,
orangish reddish
yeah,
coming through
those
there.
flames coming up. Yeah.
oh yeah, that right there is awesome.
And it actually has a little bit of a ringer as well.
It's like getting tired of us messing with it. It's like, stop it, guys. Oh,
there.
see it coming through right there.
Yep.
Absolutely.
So that's a pretty neat.
That thing's
neat
crazy. It's like, put me away.
So one more I'll show you
So one more. So this is the last one he's saying.
is a blackhead genetic stripe.
Now, I know camera guy Kurt's going to be all over this because he's been on my butt to get genetic stripe into our collection. I haven't done it yet. There's a recessive he's really interested in. So this is going to make him really excited.
Yeah, so kind of, I did not produce this animal. I actually bought this animal. My original pairings were to make hets, and so I have adult het females. But then I saw this guy and I had to grab him because it's just a really neat combination and just darkens up that right around that striping. Actually narrows the striping of the genetic stripe and puts the black right on around the outside of it.
Kind of like that same highlighting we saw with the asphalt around the pattern area.
Right.
Now, when you buy an animal like this, so it's kind of, you know, with you being one of the guys that's really at the forefront of Blackhead, then you're going to go and you're going to buy a Blackhead from somebody else.
Right.
Let people know kind of why you choose to do that rather than just, you know, use what you're holding back.
So I actually didn't produce any males when I
Okay.
was making my hets, so I didn't have a het-to-het pairing that I could do.
To make the male.
Right.
So,
So I was raising these females thinking, okay, I'll, you know, make another het, and then I just never did. And by the time females were ready to go, I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do with them?
Yep.
And so I spotted that one. I think it was Python's Gone Postal that produced those first. So I picked it up from him. Yeah, there you go.
Well, I think too, we've talked about as we run our plans and we buy animals, we're starting to try to buy less females and buy more males.
Right.
With the thought process of when we bring in new blood, I'm going to take that male, I'm going to run it through 4 females, so I'm diversifying my genetics a lot further that way, where if I buy a single female, I'm only diversifying as she goes down instead of a lot bringing in new blood.
Right.
Not that inbreeding in snakes is bad. They do it in the wild. They don't travel that far. They're all cousins.
Sure.
Especially if you study rattlesnakes. They're literally all cousins in the den, guys. But you still do want to outcross some. So I didn't know if adding the male was a point to try to outcross them and make sure you're staying really well outcrossed.
Yeah, and you know, part of it also is you know, like you said, you grew up a lot of your own females, right? And then if you want to get into a new gene, you know, I'll typically do that in a male. You know, sometimes it makes more sense to get the females if it's a simple recessive. You buy some hets first and grow them up.
Right.
But yeah, if I'm trying to get a new gene into my collection, a lot of times I'll do it with the male because I have multiple directions I want to go with them with the females that I've been holding back.
It's just a lot quicker and easier if you have the male to do that.
Right.
And then on top, when you're looking for a Blackhead, because obviously you know a lot about the gene, you're at the forefront of it, and you're buying from somebody else, what traits were you looking for to say that this one from Python's Gone Postal was the one?
Sure, yeah, so I knew that he had a lot of those extra genes in his Blackhead stuff also, and I'd seen some of the non-genetic stripe versions.
Right.
So I knew it was a quality animal that I could bring in, and it was just as high quality as the ones I was producing. So some of the Blackhead stuff you see out there isn't quite as, I guess, I don't know, isn't quite as nice, right?
Absolutely.
You want the best examples of the gene itself, and I knew that he had a lot of that as well, so I felt pretty comfortable grabbing that from him.
Because there's more to it than just a name, right? In any genetic.
Yeah.
You know, we put the name on, people are like, well, this is this, but look at those small traits that you're seeing in that you want to bring into your collection, that you want to push through, whether it's more pattern reduction or more noise or whatever it is you're looking at for your projects, makes such a difference in your long-term goals and how it's going to come out.
Right.
I think that's what really separates, you know, breeders who are going to be really successful from ones that are going to sometimes struggle, is having that long-term, excuse me, cough, that long-term vision in their project, and not just I need gene X and gene Y.
Yeah. Yeah, I always try to look for the best example of what I'm purchasing, right? So that
Absolutely.
I'm holding back the most quality animals also, and I can't hold them all back, so a lot of those get sold as well.
Yep.
But yeah, if you're always trying to look for the best of the best, you know, long term you're gonna end up hatching some pretty awesome animals. So.
I think the old saying in the hobby was always quality in, quality out, and it
Right.
kind of holds true. But you did say that was your last one, but that's not quite true because you got one more for Patreon, right?
I do.
So if you're not on Patreon, you should be, and he's going to show you his favorite Blackhead, which I can't wait to see because I love getting to go through somebody else's collection. Because I see mine all the time. I know it's in there. I still get excited, but going through something else, getting to pick somebody else's brain, I get to learn, and I get to kind of find some things, and then every time it's Reid, I end up broke. And I'll tell you a story to the Patreon of how he makes me broke. You probably didn't even realize what he does, but I know what he does. I'm onto his game because it works though.
Right.
So anything else you want to add?
I think that's it.
Kurt, anything you want to add?
No.
All right, guys, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
All right.